The question is, how on earth can you increase that energy? And the most important thing for that is you want to get how your energy works to be really, really efficient. That's what we mean by an energy control system. Everybody basically has a chemical-based control system, but we also have field receptors which will pick up photons and different magnetic signals. What we're concerned with in bioenergetics is this field-based control system. We want to make it as efficient as we can, because if we make it efficient, there's more energy available for healing, so you have more energy to heal your soul.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Wendy Myers. Welcome to the Myers Detox Podcast. On this show, we talk about everything related to heavy metal and chemical detox, the health issues that toxins cause, anti-aging, bioenergetics, and a lot of cutting-edge topics related to health. We're not doing the boring stuff. We're not doing the diet and the nutrition supplements and exercise for the most part. This podcast is a little bit, more for people that are a little bit more advanced. They're looking for answers beyond the status quo. So today, my friend Harry Massey is going to be on the show. He is an expert on bioenergetics. He is the founder of neshealth.com, neshealth.com, and they're rebranding to Energy for Life. And he has spent really decades learning about energy medicine, creating a software system that can scan you and scans over 800 different data points to figure out exactly what is going on with you. And it's very unique. There's over 5 decades of research that has gone behind Ness Health, and Harry continues to do research, most recently at the University of California at San Diego. We talk about that research. We talk about what bioenergetics is. We're going to be talking about his new conference called Zenergy, where he's debuting his cutting-edge wearables that will scan your body every 5 minutes and send you frequencies that your body needs to correct the issues found in the scan. He's going to be debuting a really interesting mat that can help to correct a lot of different issues. We're going to be talking about exactly the nature of emotional trauma, how emotional trauma affects your health, and how can you use bioenergetics to release emotional trauma, how bioenergetics is super anti-aging. It's the future of medicine. It's what I've been using for 9 years, and I absolutely credit Ness Health in particular with feeling and looking really young. I just turned 52. I credit it with one of my anti-aging secrets and for just feeling a lot better emotionally and physically than I ever have. And so it's really like my secret weapon, and I really encourage people to try bioenergetics starting with Ness Health. So we're going to dive into all that on the show today. Harry Massey, my guest, he's a well-known bioenergetic speaker, expert entrepreneur who's made significant contributions to the field of bioenergetics and the study of energy and living systems to help people worldwide restore their energy for life. As a serial entrepreneur, Harry is the founder of Ness Health, Expo Health, Energy for Life, all companies dedicated to researching, developing advanced bioenergetic technologies and solutions that are transforming patients' health and wellness in remarkable ways. Harry's companies have developed a comprehensive AI and physics-based clinic health system that helps people detect, correct, and protect their energy while stimulating their innate self-healing and self-repair systems. His groundbreaking products and devices help detect, correct, and protect a person's energy, including the award-winning My Health device, which I use every single day, light beds, hydrogen beds, infoceuticals, which are liquid remedies with frequencies in them, and the Bioenergetics Wellness System, voice scanning technology, personalized meditations, and the GIST course and GIST journal, and the soon-to-be-released wearable device, the GEM. You can learn more about Harry's work at neshealth.com and do a free bioenergetic scan at neshealth.com/detox. Harry, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Wendy. It's great to be here. And it's been a few years since we were last on the podcast.
Yes, and I love having you on because I love your work so much. You introduced me to bioenergetics over 9 years ago, and it's completely changed my life. And I highly recommend anybody on their health journey, they have to try some form of bioenergetics at some point on their journey, because it's almost exclusively what I use right now to address my health issues. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started on your own bioenergetic journey?
So when I was 21, I had these 3 accidents that led me to being bedridden for the next 7 years. Firstly, I went out to Ben Nevis ice climbing, and ice is really, really brittle, and I was teetering up. My axe went into the ice completely shattered, and I fell 60 feet down onto the rocky slopes below. And that day I ended up fracturing my spine, although I didn't know till I had a paragliding accident a couple of years later when I was in hospital. And they said, your x-rays are fine. They basically said, you haven't broken anything today, but you do have a fractured and a fused spine from an accident before, which was obviously that bend over strip. And then another year or so went past, and I went out to the French Alps, and I got a fever that turned out to be glandular fever again while I was climbing. I checked into a hotel, was pretty sick for like 10 or so days. And then I went back to university, but I just didn't feel the same. Like I just kept getting really exhausted. And I was in my last year of university, and I was being fairly hedonistic, like doing my exams, going climbing, partying really hard. So I sort of just thought it was that. But by the end of my final year at university, I was so exhausted, I really didn't quite know what to do with myself. But I'd taken my first job in London, got fired because I had too many sick days. And I thought, well, I'll just go back out to the French Alps and like heal through climbing, fresh air, French food, wine, etc. And then I got so exhausted on that trip that I ended up stuck in a tent for about a week, just eating dry bananas. Drove myself back to England, stopping on the highway like every 40 or so minutes. Got back, didn't know what to do, so I enrolled in an MBA. Very quickly realized I couldn't really manage that MBA, so I split it over 2 years instead of one. And by my final year of the MBA, I basically ended up in a wheelchair. So I did all my exams in a wheelchair, and that really began 7 whole long years of full-on bed-bound chronic fatigue syndrome. And I was 21. I'd basically lost all my energy, lost all my social life. I was stuck in this bedroom, completely lost my freedom. And I just tried absolutely everything, and probably a bit like your journey. I started off in functional medicine, nutrition, tried every diet. And after 5 years of that, it's like, well, if I don't have any energy, why don't I study where energy comes from? And from that, I basically ended up on Google. I think it was actually Yahoo at the time. And I looked up and came across the field of energy medicine. So it's like, well, why don't I go and find who the most prominent energy medicine researchers are? And came across this scientist called Professor Peter Fraser. He'd been mapping out the energy and information of the human body field for about 30 odd years. And before that, he'd set up the first acupuncture college that became part of Melbourne University. And, I rang him up and I said, Peter, I've got this idea. I want to make a home wellness system that would basically work out what's wrong with people from the comfort of their own homes. And he was like, that sounds interesting. But fortunately, I don't know if he took pity on me, but he basically thought, well, there's something in this kid. So he was, I was 26, he was 61 or something like that. And long story short, he ended up emigrating from Australia, moved to England, and we formed this R&D company that became Ness Health, where we ended up mapping the energy and information of the human body to a much more detailed level, made this system that's now called the Bioenergetic Wellness System, and a lot of other inventions that have come since. And of course, he also healed me and got my energy back.
So for anyone listening that really wants to detox their body, go to heavymetalsquiz.com. I created a quiz for you. It only takes a couple of seconds. Based on some lifestyle questions, you can get your toxicity score and get a free video series that answers all of your frequently asked questions about how to detox your body. Check it out, heavymetalsquiz.com. Yeah, I think you're like a lot of people that are not feeling well, chronically fatigued, and they just never thought that they would find themselves in this situation with having lost their health. Because you don't have your health, you can't really focus on anything else. You can't do anything else. And so you took it to another level, like forming a bioenergetic company. But a lot of people are searching and doing, this is what I try to caution people about is doing the medication, like the doctor revolving door, then the functional medicine, then the supplements, then, I have to do this cleanse, or maybe it's my liver, and they're really focusing on that physical plane only. So, and people really need to be thinking about, well, what controls that physical body? We have an energy field around us that controls and governs that physical body. So that's the study of bioenergetics. So why don't you expand on that a little bit more? Like, what exactly is the definition of bioenergetics?
Yeah, bioenergetics is the study, detection, and correction in living systems. And you can really describe it through these two main principles. One, that the body is a battery, and two, that the body has an energetic control system. And in short, imagine if you've got low energy. When you've got low energy, you basically don't have enough energy to heal yourself. And you can also look at it from a cellular level. So the cell, it has a potential across the cell membrane. When it's above 250 millivolts, you're like a super athlete. And if it's below 50 millivolts, you generally have cancer, and honestly, you're pretty close to death. Most diseases sit between 50 and 100 millivolts. And, just feeling a bit depressed, low energy, you're 100 to 150. 150 plus, you're healthy. 250, you're, a super performance athlete. And the thing is, the question is like, how on earth can you increase that energy? And the most important thing for that is you want to get how your energy works to be really, really efficient. So that's what we mean by an energy control system. And the normal body, everybody basically has a chemical-based control system, which we're very familiar with. Like, you can have a cell, it has cell receptors for molecules, but we also have field receptors, which will pick up basically photons and different magnetic signals. And what we're concerned with in bioenergetics is this energy, or this field-based control system, and we want to make it as efficient as we can. Because if we make it efficient, there's more energy available for healing. And basically, without a high level of energy, you stay sick. And it's honestly the most key thing. And so many different therapies, like if you're talking about an ozone sauna or red light therapy or hyperbaric therapy, etc., they're all based on that fact that they want to recharge your body's battery and recharge your energy. That's all great, but when you do feel a bit better for a few hours afterwards, or for the rest of the day, but the next day you can be depleted again because you didn't actually correct your body's energy efficiency. You didn't actually directly correct the energetic control system. So at Ness, and our company's actually been renamed as Energy for Life right now. But what we're most concerned with Energy for Life is how we can measure, manage, and master your energy and emotions, so that we can make it as efficient as possible, so you have more energy to heal yourself.
Yeah, and your program is also very anti-aging as well. When you get rid of all these energy drains and energetic blocks from your body, and you are able to produce all this energy that you need to regenerate and sleep and et cetera, I mean, it's incredibly anti-aging.
Emotions are the most key part to that. I mean, it's related to energy, but Gabor Mator, he's written a number of books. One of his books is like when the body says no. But in his research, he basically looked at all these different studies that correlates different emotional characteristics and trauma with different diseases. Like someone with Parkinson's has a more rigid personality. Someone with ALS, for example, they basically always say yes to everybody, like they don't know how to put up boundaries. And the reason here's another study that's in that book that's pretty fascinating. If you take lung cancer and smokers, all of us think, oh, smoking causes lung cancer. Well, actually, they studied all of these smokers and all of the people who had lung cancer and didn't have lung cancer. And what the fundamental difference was the ones who ended up with lung cancer were actually had very negative emotional states, and the ones that never got lung cancer didn't. And in the research, it basically showed that a cell will detoxify heavy metals and smoke when you're in a positive emotional state, and it'll repair. And when it's not, basically that aging process that you're talking about, the aging process basically accelerates when you're in a negative emotional state. And that's why for our company and Energy for Life, we're very, very particular about measuring, managing, and mastering your energy and emotions, because actually negative emotions are the biggest leak to your energy.
Yeah. And it's also something a lot of people just aren't thinking about when it comes to their physical health, or they think, oh, I had 10 years of therapy, I'm good, but they don't realize there are these subconscious emotions, there are emotional traumas they have that are still affecting them decades later, and their frequencies in their energy field. And you have to fight fire with fire. You have to fight frequencies in your energy field with other types of frequencies that release them. And that's the brilliance of Nest Health, or you're changing it to Energy for Life. That's the brilliance of this system, is releasing all that stuff. And you just get lighter and lighter and lighter as you release this baggage that's really been holding you back emotionally and physically.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we created a wearable where you can actually measure your emotions as well. So you can basically measure and manage your emotions directly through a wearable, because in traditional Chinese medicine, you can pick up these 29 different pulses, and every wearable today is just looked at heart rate variability. That's looking at it's literally looking at the distance between the top of each beat. And the sort of insight that we had is, well, why not look at the shape of the overall pulse wave, which is what the Chinese are doing when they're reading your TCM pulse. And for example, if someone has a wiry pulse, that's indicative of a stagnant liver. The emotion associated with liver is frustration, or the more extreme, it's anger. Or with the pancreas, it's anxiety. Or with the heart, it's like depression to joy. Actually, no, sorry, it's impatience to joy. So we basically mapped out these different emotional characteristics that we can pick up from the pulse, which gives you a real awareness right in that moment of your emotional state. But we can also end up correcting it in real time too. So yeah, it's quite exciting.
Yeah. So tell us about the wearable. So it's called GEMS, correct?
Yeah, it's called the GEM, that stands for Guided Energy Management, or Energy Management System. And it'll detect, correct, and protect your energy and emotions. I said it's using a TCM pulse to look at your emotions, but we haven't described what a digital pharmaceutical is yet. But when we were describing earlier about how there's a field-based control system, we can basically deliver these field signals directly into your body, and your cell receptors pick those up in a similar-ish way to how it's picking up a chemical-based signal, and will have an effect. But ultimately it helps to balance your energy and emotions. And of course, it by de facto, it also will help increase longevity, help your health as well.
Yeah, I love this concept. I mean, even someone who's been using bioenergetics for so long, I mean, it can be very expensive. I have equipment that's not transportable. It's super effective. I can send me any frequency of any emotion I want. but it's not portable. And this is just a wearable on your wrist, and it scans you every hour, correct? It'll scan you every hour, check in with you,
Every
and then
5 minutes, actually.
oh, every 5 minutes, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's scanning every 5 minutes. Your movement, if you're asleep, your
Oh,
sleep, your HRV, but also the full shape of your pulse, so all of the Chinese pulses. Um, and then it's adjusting the digital, what we call a digital pharmaceutical, basically the signal that's going back into the body continuously. Yeah.
yeah. So it's sending you frequencies for the emotions that what you should be feeling, or is it counteracting the negative emotion that might be picking
I
up?
mean, it has a number of effects. So it has like a 24-hour automatic cycle, and that's directly based on what it's detecting. Um, it's also putting in, so in Chinese medicine, there's a 24-hour cycle or 24-hour clock. So it'll put in the right type of information and signal to balance out the right organs during the right time. So, we were talking about liver. So people who wake up between 1 and 3 in the morning, that's generally a liver issue. So during that period, it'll help balance and calm your liver, so you're less likely to wake up, and then it's lung time, kidney time, etc. Um, and but it also connects up to our voice scan. So if someone has seen a practitioner or one of our coaches, you can basically do a voice scan. It'll analyze 700 odd different factors or biomarkers from your voice, and then we'll also send that precise biosignature and digital pharmaceutical into the wearable. So yeah, it'll do both. And then there's a third mode. If you just want an energy boost, or you want a good time in bed, or peace, or relax, or you want to focus at work, you can obviously just press that on your app and it'll just directly do that function.
I want to take a minute to thank one of our sponsors. Therasage saunas are what I highly recommend to all of my patients for the dozens and dozens of benefits imparted by infrared saunas. But what I love about Therasage saunas is that they are portable, they are inexpensive, and they have lots of like interesting things that you can add to it. You can add ozone, you can add red light. I love that they have all these options that you can stack all these different health modalities and get the most ROI out of the time you're spending in your infrared sauna. So go check out their top of the line infrared saunas at therasage.com. Yeah, and so you talked about doing a voice scan. So I highly encourage everyone listening to do a free voice scan that you are offering to the audience. So the link that you want to go to is neshealth, neshealth.com/detox. And so go there, try the free scan because this scan is using the frequencies in your voice. It can detect so many different things in your body. It's really, really mind-blowing. It's very high-tech. You've been developing this for well over 40 years between Peter Fraser and yourself. It's kind of his life's work, and you brought
Yeah, it's
brought
like
it into
two
far.
million lines of 2 million lines of code at this
Yeah,
point. Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty
But I mean,
complicated.
you've spent over 2 decades putting
Oh
this in
yeah, 20
software and
23 years.
developing it and
Yeah.
doing research. And so you have research also at UCSD, correct?
Yes, at University of California, San Diego, run by the vice chair of the medical department there, is Professor Hemel Patel. So he's been looking at how our infoceuticals can affect different tissues. So they'll take, for example, they took some muscle tissue. They wanted to see if we can increase the mitochondrial density with one of our infoceuticals called Cell Driver. They saw like a 50% increase in the density in the cell, saw a 67% protection from hydrogen peroxide. Basically, we're trying to poison the cell, and saw a 67% protection rate against the control. We also infected lung tissue with horrible corona, and we saw a 45% reduction in the viral penetration rate of corona.
Yeah, and also there's an increase in energy as well correct? There's an increase in
Yeah, there's actually, well,
mitochondrial energy
whole
production.
bunch of things. So we also measured the efficiency of the glycosis, which is basically the sugar metabolism pathway, and can increase the, basically you need less sugar to get more output. So we increase the output of energy from a cell by 25% with the same amount of sugar being fed into the cell. So that's pretty key. And actually we used the wearable electronics for that. So we basically took the wearable electronics, imprinted the tissue directly, and got those effects.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So this is just such an easy thing to do. That's what I really advocate for with bioenergetics, is doing something that's inexpensive, super easy, with highest return on investment for your time and your money and your effort. That's why I use bioenergetics. And also there's so many issues that people have that really can only effectively be addressed through bioenergetics. So it's so much easier to do something like wear a wearable and have it feed your body the operating instructions to create more energy, feed your body the operating instructions to release emotional trauma, and on and on and on. And there's when you do a Nest Health scan, it tests over 800 different data points. There's a tremendous amount of information that you're getting. It's really incomparable. And also for how inexpensive it is as well. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can work with energy within the bioenergetics wellness system. But yeah, it's just, for me, it's an essential component of my health routine. I use all of the different components of the bioenergetics wellness system, which we'll get into on a daily basis. And I encourage all of my clients, we've had thousands of clients go through this system and get amazing results on every imaginable level or symptoms. It's just really continues to blow my mind. And so I just, for me, the most important thing, the message I'm trying to get across to people is being open to trying bioenergetics. Give it at least 6 months and see the difference in your life, in your health, your energy, your emotional state, after that 6-month period.
I would say it's basically at like the center of an ecosystem. So the voice scan, once you know your results, it does a couple of things. Like, one, it makes these AI recommendations for your health. So you know what type of foods, what type of habits, what type of emotional sort of and belief sort of systems that you can overcome. But it will also drive that information into a light bed, into our My Health device, into the wearable, or you can take liquid infoceuticals at home. So yeah, I mean, the light bed's quite interesting. I mean, we're just launching that at Zenergy as well in
Oh, wow.
6 weeks. But in that light bed, we're basically using like 10 different wavelengths, or you could say in simpler language, different colors. We're putting the biological information from our mapping the human body field in onto the signal, and then also the frequency. And then imagine you're basically in the light bed, you're listening to a meditation through your earphones that are guiding precisely based on your voice scan. So it's like, okay, I need to regenerate my kidney or my lung or my liver. Sorry, and it's doing it in that order. Well, the bed is actually sending the right color of light, frequency, and information into those different organs. So not only you're visualizing it with your eyes closed, but of course you can actually see in the periphery of your eyes the colors change, and it's actually happening in real time. So sort of taking that idea of visualization and meditation, but doing it in reality, it's quite, it's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, I love that you're always doing research and always, talking to people around the world to try to getting ideas and getting information, always upgrading your products, upgrading the software you're using for scanning. Always in awe of what you're doing over there at Energy for Life. And so let's talk about you have a conference coming up. So you mentioned Zenergy. So you have a conference that's happening October 3rd to the 5th in Denver, Colorado. So tell us about that. So everyone can attend, practitioners, people interested in Nest Health, interested in bioenergetics. I really encourage everyone to go check out this conference. It's going to be super cutting edge, all about bioenergetics. And Dave Asprey speaking, correct?
Yeah, Dave Asprey's there, Jennifer Joy of the Brave Thinking Institute doing a thing called Transcendence. You're there, Wendy.
I
You're
will
there
be
yourself.
there. Yeah, if you guys want to come meet
Yeah,
me in
Chris
person, come
Schaffner
hang
there's
out.
Catherine Clinton, who's a big expert on quantum biology, is there. There's a lot of different speakers, but the reason this event is really it's not a one-off because we're going to do them every year, but it is a one of its kind and is really breaking new ground. Because in the last 2 years, what we've also been doing is we create this philosophy called GIST that stands for gratitude, intention, surrender, and trust, and turn that into a whole musical experience. So we have the World Funk Orchestra with Liquid Bloom, with Barry Goldstein, who wrote music for Joe Dispenza for 10 years. And basically all of them are performing in a band while we're doing like the spoken words and singing. We also actually have a gospel choir there as well. And you're basically in the audience, but around the room we have those light beds that are fully open. They're imprinting the whole room with the right energy and information to the music and to the words, so that we can basically deeply heal and transform and take people through this whole somatic journey. And that's just the evening's entertainment. It's just and obviously we've got, so basically you walk out with all of the education, the tools, and the deeply transformative experience to take bioenergetics back into your life in a real way. Yeah, and we're also launching 2 new devices, the wearable and the light bed.
Okay, fantastic. So you're launching the gems and the light bed, which is super interesting. I heard you talk about that a few years ago. We had a conversation. So I'm thrilled that it's finally coming into fruition and going to be debuted at Zenergy Conference. So you have a special offer for everybody listening. You have 40% off tickets. So you can go to zenergyconference.com/detox if you're a practitioner, or go to zenergyconference.com/detox-clients. And that's more for consumers or clients, people interested in just trying out Nest or the Energy for Life system. You can get 40% off tickets. So highly encourage you to go. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be walking around and, socializing with everybody. So if you want to come meet me in person, come to the Zenergy Conference. You will not be disappointed.
Or dance.
Yeah, and dancing and meditating and the music, etc.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Also, I was just going to say with the voice scan, because on nesthealth.com/detox, as well as the free voice scan, it'll actually take you through a whole educational course all about bioenergetics. So if you want to go a lot deeper into some of what we were saying and like fully understand like what the voice scan means, what the pharmaceuticals do, how, where all the history of bioenergetics is and the research, we have a whole like free video course so you can basically sort of go nuts learning all about it. And then of course properly learn at Zenergy. Well, I say Zenergy is more experiential than just normal learning.
Yes. Okay, great. So you're not just going to go listen to a bunch of like boring talks. It's going to be like really experiential.
No, I mean, I don't know about you, Wendy, but personally, Wendy and me are forced to go to business conferences, a couple of times a year, and neither of us particularly, we get very bored in all the lectures and go outside and chat and be slightly naughty. And so really, I didn't want to create that experience in our own event. I wanted to create an event that was actually, really fun and deeply transformative. And yeah, basically not just lectures.
I just want to take a minute to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, True Energy Skincare. I absolutely love True Energy Skincare. I've been using it for a couple of years, And I've noticed that dramatic improvement in my skin texture, and it's so soft and supple. This is one of my secret weapons because not only are you getting lots of healthy, natural ingredients, moisturizing, hydration in the True Energy skincare, but she also, the inventor of this, Kathy Goldstein, also infuses thousands of frequencies into the skincare to dramatically improve collagen production and, so many other benefits, in regards to all these different frequencies that are infused into the skincare. Yeah, and I was really surprised when I saw Dave Asprey was speaking. He's the inventor of Bulletproof Coffee and one of the hosts of one of the top health podcasts of all time, Bulletproof Radio. And now I believe it's the Human Upgrade
the more
shows.
surprising part is he runs his own massive event annually, which is the big annual biohacking conference.
Yes.
That has 3,000 people there every year. So he has his own event. So, but he's a great supporter of Energy for Life and us and Bioenergetics.
Fantastic. Yeah. And also, so is Dr. Mercola. I worked with him personally to get him to, teach him how to use the My Health. He owns 3 My Healths, which are part of the Energy for Life, the Bioenergetics Wellness System. So a lot of Greenfield.
Ben's a big supporter. Ben will be at next year's Zenergy. He's not
great.
at this one, but he's coming to the following one.
Okay,
Yep.
fantastic. Yeah. So just a lot of people that can really do anything for their health, that are educated about so many different modalities for their health, are using Nest Health, which you're renaming it to Energy for Life, but they're using the system, including myself. So again, really encourage you to come in person and see for yourself what this is all about. I'm sure you're going to have all kinds of free stuff, scans and pharmaceuticals, which are liquid remedies with information you can send to your body. And if you want to get a free scan, go to nesthealth.com/detox, neshealth.com/detox. Definitely, want to learn more about this if you've never really done a scan, or you've been kind of like hesitating about signing up to do Nest, or you've heard me talk about it, etc. Now is the time you can do a free scan and check that out. And you said also do a free course. After the scan, you get like a video series and access to a little course.
Yeah, there's like six videos that it takes you through principles of bioenergetics, how to interpret the voice scan, what the pharmaceuticals do, the science that takes you through the science of it. But basically everything you really want to know that we can't get to in a podcast is all there.
Yeah. And this is the future. This is the future of medicine. This is, where you're simply sending correct operating instructions to your body. It's that simple. Your body isn't working correctly. It's inefficient, not producing enough energy, not sleeping well because you have all these different issues, energetic blocks, heavy metals, chemicals, emotional trauma, EMF, the electromagnetic fields from Wi-Fi, etc. All these things interfering in your body's heart waves, your brain waves, and your organ systems, meridians, chakras. And doing this scan that you can do helps you to identify where all these problem areas are, clear those blocks, clear the trauma, put in correct operating instructions. It's brilliant. It's so simple. And it's the foundations of health. So you start to do all this stuff, and over time, your body works better and better and better. You feel better. You look younger. I mean, I'm 52. I just turned 52 last week. And Harry, I know your birthday is this month as well.
I'm 49, yeah.
Yeah, you're 49. Yeah. And look, I'm telling you, Bioenergetics works. If you want to look and feel great, you need to do Nest Health Bioenergetics, or you said that you change it to Energy for Life. So the proof is in the pudding.
It is.
Yes. Well, Harry, thanks so much for coming on the show on the Mayorti Talks podcast. Why don't you tell the listeners where they can learn more about your work, et cetera?
So, I mean, honestly, the best is just go straight to those links, nesthealth.com/detox. But if you want to know about us and everything we do, it's harrymassey.com, and that links you to all our companies, our research, nonprofit, books, videos, films, all the stuff we've done over the years.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, you've been at this for a really long time. So, Harry, thanks so much for coming on the show. Always a pleasure. And everyone, I'm Dr. Wendy Myers. Thanks for tuning in every week to the Myers Detox podcast. We've been doing this for over 11 years and still have a lot more to talk about, a lot more to explore. And I love bringing experts from around the world every week to help, give you those missing pieces of the puzzle to help you on your health journey. So thanks for tuning in.
The Myers Detox Podcast is created and hosted by Wendy Myers. This podcast is for information purposes only. Statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Wendy Myers and the producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. Individuals on this podcast may have direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.